Alright, I just wanted to start by saying this is a my little do-it-yourself mod that I did for the Krups BeerTender. I got on Craigslist for a ridiculously low price, and they have one big drawback is that they can only use a Heineken keg or a Newcastle keg. So if you like any other beer, you're kind of screwed. So I wasn't having that, so I decided that I wanted to go ahead and see if I could modify it to fit a pressurized keg or a non-pressurized keg, because inside of the Heineken kegs are little CO2 bottles, and they basically just pressurize the keg for you. But most kegs, like this one, this German beer I got at Bevmo, this doesn't have any kind of pressure in it whatsoever, so you have to provide the CO2 through the use of little cartridges. And you can do so in another kegerator. It's a little bit more expensive. It works out to about the same price if you pay retail, but these BeerTenders are much more readily available, so Craigslist is a doable thing. I saw plenty on like Craigslist for like one for 40, one for 70, so it's not very much, and they retail at Fry's for 150, so not too bad. But they fit these little 5-liter gravity kegs, and what I did was I paid $75 for this adapter, this Edge Star accessory kit for their Edge Star kegerator, and I just modified it to fit the BeerTender. So what I did, you can see in the Edge Star videos on YouTube how to do it as far as putting it on the keg and stuff like that. They're pretty self-explanatory. But what I did was I took these little tubes which come with the BeerTender, and you can buy them in like packs of 10, but these are supposed to be used with the BeerTender because of this little valve mechanism thing here. So what it does is this little tap like closes on it. There we go. So that's the inside. This little tap is what drives it basically. So it closes down, and you can open it and put in this little tube. And then you just snap it in, and what happens is whenever you move this up and down, it moves this little valve up and down, so it opens or closes this already pressurized tube. So I figured, why not use a piece of it and just adapt it for this application. So what I did was I just basically cut this thing off right here, or actually pulled it out of this gray plastic thing because you don't need it, it's only for Heineken. And then the Edge Star kit comes with these, the beer tubes are flexible, I think silicone, and it was the perfect size just to fit this tube that came with the BeerTender inside of the Edge Star tube. So it just fit perfectly, nice and snug, no issues whatsoever, holds pressure pretty well. And so then CO2 comes in here, and that does so by way of this little regulator. So, and then there's a little CO2 cartridge in here. So you turn it on with this little knobby thing, and you connect this little tube to this part here, and you pressurize it. And so what I did was, since this is going to be hanging out here and the thing wouldn't be able to close with the tube just hanging out on it, I decided to go ahead and drill a hole, which actually looks pretty clean in my opinion. So I took off this back cover just with these two little screws back here, and then there's just a tiny little piece, it's about this much, that I had to drill through. And it's only plastic on one end and plastic on the other, and just foam insulation in between, so you're not damaging any components at all. And then you can see here how this little piece that's the piece that connects to this little end right here, and it pressurizes it. And I poured a glass of water, so non-pressurized, obviously water, into it with this setup, and I thought it to be pretty clean. What it's going to look like whenever I leave it is I'm just going to put a little clippy and leave it right here so you can see the pressure gauge from whenever you're pouring it, and you can turn it on from whenever you're pouring it. So just a little black clip, which is actually this little thing right here. I'm just gonna put it on there. Pretty cool. So they're just little wire hiding tools is what those are, those clips. And you don't need a very big drill, it's pretty small. Everything you should have available to you. I suppose if you didn't like the silver, you could paint it black, but it's kind of neat. Apart from that, this is what comes in the EdgeStar accessory kit. I think that's probably online on one of the YouTube videos, but this little thing goes in. This is the little bung fitting, so the big pole kind of drives into the keg, and that's how it forms a seal in the keg. This is just a little bit extra tubing that came in it. I didn't need that much length. This is a little cleaner bottle, so you stick the I want to say the pole, I guess, in there, and that's how you clean it. And then it comes with 3 CO2 cartridges, which I have 1 in there right now, and these are the other 2. It remains to be seen how much pressure we get out of it, but I think it should be fine. That's about it. So I guess if you have any questions, you can post comments. Drink WD-40 on YouTube. Thanks. Enjoy.